Hey FlossTube, it's Annette from Annette's Acre. It's Sunday, June 13th, and it's time to catch up. So I know it's been a while. Life has been interesting. Just to give you the high points of the last 4 months, there's been new clients, work stuff, additional stuff at work. There's been no travel. But we are now adjusting to being an empty nest. Zachary moved out about a month ago, so we've been empty nesting here for a little over a month. I gotta say, the biggest challenge is divvying up his chores to figure out who does them. So, but that's okay. It's kind of nice. He didn't go far away, and he's doing really well. So. All the kids are out of the house. We just have left 3 dogs. But if you're new here, welcome. I hope to show you something that you find interesting. If you are returning, thank you so much for being patient. I do have a lot of things to show. So I'm going to stay focused on stitching and books for this particular video. I have been doing a couple of other things, but we'll hold that for the next one because I think this, based on the piles that are currently around me, this is going to be a fairly lengthy one. We do have music. Hopefully you can hear that. So all is good. All right, so let's get started. In the last few months, I've done good amount of stitching. I have finished a few things, so we will start by showing some finishes. This first one is not only finished, it's actually in its final form. So this is Potion, Brews, and Spells from Cherished Stitches. It's the top part of a design that was in the 2016 Just Cross Stitch Halloween version. I stitched it on Pewter Belfast, and then with Warlock Road Silken Colors, which is one of my favorite silken colors. And I finished it into this little acrylic box. This is actually going to be an exchange item for an event that I'm going to this week. StitchCon Weekend B. So this will be the exchange item that I bring for the smallest exchange. There's a couple other items in the box, but we're not gonna show those. There's got to be some little bit of surprise, right? All right, so that was a finish recently, and then I've been doing pretty good keeping up with the monthly stockings from Blackbird Designs. So this was January, which I think I showed last time. So this was January's. So everything I'm doing is from Stash. The linen was part of I got the linen when the booklets were first released in 2009 from the attic. They included 3 pieces of linen in each month, and it's all Lakeside linen. They didn't tell us what the colors were for the most part, but I've just been using that linen and just pulling fibers from Stash. Second one is February Love is in the Air booklet, and I did the sampler one. This was using in the burgundy Silken Colors silk. That was super fast. All 40 count linen. March of the Daffodils was March. Okay. And I did the Quaker one. Now this silk was from an oops pack from from Dinky Dyes. So this is but you can see it's got some very gentle variegation here. So March. And then for April, I used this for Whipco in April for my Whipco draw, and the box or the goal for the month was to start and finish a design. Okay, get a start and a finish. So I actually, rather than just do one, I did 2. So I did 2 of the stockings. So here's what the book looks like. Stockings for April. And then I did this one. Just kind of the rose vine, and again, all from Stash. And then I did this one. Okay. So that was April. Now, in May, of course, I was going on a roll, and so I blew it in May. So I haven't finished May's yet, but I've started it. So here's the May book, May Flowers, and I'm doing the tulip one here on the bottom. And here we are. So pretty close. We're getting there. Yep. This, I actually had the called for threads in my stash, so this is as called for. It's like sugared violets and I can't remember the green. Anyway. All right. The other thing that I know we talked about in the last one was a challenge that Julie from Reflections started on January 1st. It's the 25 Stitches a Day challenge. Excuse me. I'll put the link to the video where she announces it. It's got the email address in it to join. But I've been really good about keeping up with the 25 stitches a day since January 1st. And I've actually finished, I finished 2 pieces and hopefully will finish the 3rd one this coming weekend. This was the first finish, was this nutcracker. 25 stitches a day on this plastic canvasy stuff was about all I could handle. So I was very pleased when I got it done. There's supposed to be a back. I didn't do the back. In fact, as soon as I put in the last stitch, I packaged up the chart and sent it off to a friend of mine that is a nutcracker collector because I just didn't want to look at it anymore. So, but this is done. The front one is done. The second piece that was part of the 25 by 7 was Haunted Laboratory by Mill Hill. So he was about, he wasn't quite halfway done when I picked him up and finished him as part of the 25 stitches a day, beading everything. So that was good. That had been in my stash for quite a while. And then the current piece in my Stitch Folk Red 12 bag. This will be a bit of a project bag parade too, I swear, today. The current piece I'm working on is Celtic Cross from M Designs. And this was a chart that was gifted to me, again, several years ago. And here's where we're at now. When I started, I only had this corner done. So 25 stitches a day. I usually do anywhere from 30 to 50 because I'll pull just one length of thread and I'll stitch the length of thread. And then that's what I do. But it's always at least 25. So there we go. So again, my goal is to finish it this weekend at StitchCon. So I'm going to have to kind of up the 25 for this week, which would be no problem. I'll probably, I'm using sulky thread on 34 count legacy linen in Devonshire cream. It'll make actually a really good project to work on the plane. So I'll probably spend my flight getting it really close to finished so that I can finish it on site when I get there. So that's the current whip. All right, so those, one more finish. And again, this was because of Whip Go. The goal was to finish a project that was started prior to 2019. So the project was Love Letters from Primrose Needleworks, and I probably started it in like 2010, 2011, somewhere in there. And it's done. And it is on Lakeside Magnolia linen using the called for colors. Now, you can see kind of that inner border of the soft yellow, that's buttermilk Gentle Art sampler threads. That's what bogged me down, is the yellow on yellow. Yellow on yellow. But it's very sweet. And once I got going, it only took me like 3 or 4 days to finish it. So, and I even pressed it. Wow. So those were the finishes since we last spoke. Nothing big. Lots of small things, but you know, I'm also making good progress on other stuff. So, what am I currently stitching? Well, I'm so glad you asked because I've got a lot of stuff. I didn't pull every whip out that I've worked on in the last 4 months. We would be here all day. But I did pull what I think has is either a new start or has a good amount of progress. So you'll see that. All right, so the project that is currently has my attention and is the project I'm using for the other Whip Grow draw this month. Oh, my first Whip Grow, so the Whip Grow calls for this month. The first one was stitch 10 days on a pre-2019 whip. So Celtic Cross that I just showed you, that's my daily piece. That's what I'm going to use for that. And so essentially I'm done with that draw. I have completed that draw. The second Whip Grow goal for this month is just to stitch 10 days on any project. And so I'm using Sunset by Carolyn Manning, which I started in the fall of 2019. I think 2019 or 2020. I'll have to look it up. Anyway, so fall of 2019. I started in the fall. And got just this bottom part of this bottom row, 2/3 of the bottom row. So there's pages, right? And so the bottom pages are just like this much, right? Just this last row of squares. And I did 2 pages, so I got over to about here, right there. That's all I had. So since then, however, this week I've been working on it. I'm using it for magical stitches, for monsters. So here's where we're at now. So the color on the print is kind of washed out, but this is the DMC in real life. It's so beautiful and vibrant. I just love it. And it's super easy because it's just diamonds and triangles is all you're stitching, right? So here we are so far. Gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. This is on a piece of cream Murano even weave. This is old school Murano, which is 30 count. But it's beautiful and I love it. This will be going with me this week because it's so easy to stitch on. I should be okay. All right. So that's one of the current whips. That's what I was working on yesterday, so I guess it's pretty current. I don't know if I'm going to work on it today. It is dark 13, so I kind of had another thought, but I'll show you that. All right. So speaking of Whip Go, I'll put up my board here so you can see. Of the 12 numbers that have been called so far, I have 2 squares that are I've completed 10 of those squares. I still have the second number for June, which was number 1, which is Sunset, right? And I will make that no problem, 10 days on that whip. I've already got 4 in. The other square that I did not finish was 10 days on my Greek mandala back in, I want to say February. And I don't have it here because I only managed like 6 days. I was missing some DMC colors and that sort of derailed me and it took me a little while to get them. But I will definitely go back and finish off those last 4 days. So I'm doing pretty well. I've been caught up. I have to say my approach this year of just putting goals in the squares and then matching the design to the goal when they're called has worked so well. It's worked so well for me. And I have been keeping to only using each whip one time for a square. So I'm not duplicating whips in the squares. And I'm not using anything that was started this year. Everything has been started prior to 2020. So I've held those 2 goals that I set to myself. That was for my board, right? Not anybody, nobody's telling me that's what I have to do. But so far so good. I've got 10 to 12 squares done. I'll definitely hit 11 by the end of the month. And then I'll work in those other 4 days at some point on Greek mandala. All right. So Whip Go is going well. Magical stitches. I'm still doing magical stitches. I've kind of settled into focusing on the events, the monthly events and the stitching that doesn't require you to choose a certain whip. Right? So there's no prompt. That's I'm trying to match to. There are 2 events in the group that at least 2 events. There's technically 3, but I'm not doing the 3rd one. Where you stitch to slay monsters every month, or you stitch to build cabins or work on the cabins, work on the camp, right? You just stitch for those and just count your stitches. You can use any whip you want, right? There's some minor guidelines, but nothing crazy. So I've been focused a lot on those areas, and so it's keeping me interested and keeping me participating in the group, which is awesome. I've also started this month, I joined Crystal Academy, which is a similar thing. You basically just stitch. You're not really matching to stitches. The only challenge for Crystal Academy is you have to declare your whip ahead of time. So I've had to pick 7 whips to work on for the classes that are from June to November, right? But I only have to put in like a total of 1,500 stitches in those whips, which is nothing, right? So we'll see how that goes. I'm meeting new people and interacting with new people online, and that's really kind of that's one of the benefits, in addition to, helping encourage stitching. And I'm tracking my stitches, and I did break down them by Pattern Keeper and a small tablet, which has been life-changing, I gotta say. I can't use it for every whip, but I can use it for Sunset, and I use it for a couple of others that I'm going to show you. But so we'll see how that goes. It's fun, that's all. Okay, so let's talk about the other things that I've worked on. Love You More Studio sleeve. This is the Linen and Threads Mystery Sampler for 2020. I am caught up. I didn't iron it. Here it is. So before I showed you the palette, I showed you the threads, right? And then the accent threads. I did add a couple more accent colors, but other than that, I've stuck with my original plan. The dark is dark navy, it's not black. And then all of the colors that I'm using for accent, you can see in each of the bands, right? So I did a repeating pattern in the vertical bands with those colors. And then in each of the tiles, there's only one accent color incorporated. So it's navy, and then there's the accent colors in the border, and then it's at one point in the motif itself. So this is where we're at. So pretty good. Again, caught up. Finishing those vertical bands were huge. But I really like how it's coming out. I like my colors that I've chosen. And here are the accent colors. Oh, those are the accent colors. All right. And I'm just grabbing how I piled them up here. So there's no order here. Another Love Me More Studio. So bad. This was a new start. I don't think I have a picture. Oh yeah, I do. Opening Gambit, Long Dog Sampler. Opening Gambit. I'm doing this on 46 count antique white linen. That's just the bottom left corner. I tend to start in bottom left. And I'm using 30 weight. This is 30 weight silky, and I think it's called Almost Black. It's not black, it's gray. It's a deep charcoaly gray. It so looks black on that screen, but it's not. It's closer to like $37.99 than it is $3.10. So, but yeah, it's the bottom. That's the bottom half of the lower left page. And this is one I am using in Pattern Keeper. You do have to be careful with Long Dogs and Pattern Keeper because it doesn't show the back stitch, so I have to go back and forth. But yeah, 1 strand, 30 weight, silky, 46 count linen, perfect. So that was a new start, not long after the chart came out. Okay. Oh, okay, so this is Ann Morrison. by Heaven and Earth Design. I did use this for a Whipco square. So here we go. Here's where we are with Anne. Would you like to see a picture of Anne? I could totally give you a picture of Anne. Here's what she looks like. Here's what she will look like. All right. You can see him about in the middle, right there. This is a stitch along. I think this is April. This is part of the April. I have to finish off this row. This is also on 46 count linen, but it's using 103 silk. So a little heavier than the silky, but still good. So I think this is like I said, I think this is about April. So I'm a little behind on this stitch along, which is fine. The next row of alphabets are all eyelets. I don't love eyelets as much as Anne loved eyelets, so I will not be doing those letters and eyelets. I have some ideas as to what I'm going to do, but until I start stitching them, then we'll know what I decide. For right now, I just know it's not going to be all eyelets. All right, this is another stitch along. Again, I don't have a picture, but I'm caught up, so I'm not sure I need a picture. So this is Dark Queen of the Seas, Autumn Lane Stitchery. She is caught up with June, so there's only 2 parts left. I can't believe it. I'm pretty sure August is going to be beading and maybe a little more back stitching, because we've done very little back stitching and we haven't done any beading yet, and I know there's beads. So pretty sure August will be beading, which would mean that July will be the last month of cross stitch, and I'm thinking we're going to be adding a tentacle over here. See, over here, because there's definitely some spots there that imply there's some tentacleness going on. But I love her. I think she's amazing. I have an idea what I'm going to do with the corners up here, because I did not put the corners in that Erin charted. But I want to wait and see the whole bottom before I chart out and put that in and finalize that decision. I do think it needs something up here, but I want it to look like it belongs. So I have a couple of ideas. Anyway, but she is up to date and she's gorgeous and I love her. So the first week of the month is essentially the linen and threads I do first, and then I do this, and that has been taken up basically the first 6 to 10 days of the month to get those caught up, but I don't want to get behind. Okay, otherwise, let's see. I've worked on Anniversaries of the Heart, Blackbird Designs. This is on 40 count, Picture This Plus Oaken. So I finished February's, which is the big brick house. And again, this is, okay, so I finished February, which was the big brick house, and then I finished the alphabets, which is a bonus chart. And I have just the barest start on March, right? So I'm using a lot of the called for, but in the obviously current day die lots. I'm using a lot of the called for, but what I didn't have, I am substituting in either color and cotton. There's only one place that I'm actually using a DMC, but I subbed in quite a few color and cotton. The bonus block here, it's actually, there's only one sub in there. One of the purples is a color and cotton. Everything else is called for. So that's definitely much further along than it was at the beginning of the year. I did use it for Whipco the goal was a page finish. So that was the February, I think the February block I used it. All right, what's next? A new start. A new start. This was a new start. This is Tales of the Sea from Heartstring Samplery. It's eight charts, which I think only 6 are currently out, but this is the first one. It's my little Sunrise, I think, is the name of this chart. But then you can see the border. I'm doing it all on one piece, so those are the border elements. Again, using pretty much everything that's called for. I am kind of augmenting with DMC in the border area because I am doing it on 36 count fresco Picture This Plus, and I'm using 2/2 on fresco. So in the border, I'm mixing 1 thread of DMC and 1 thread of the Gentle Arts, or no, weeks. 1 thread of the weeks and 1 thread of the DMC to kind of extend the weeks, right? But in the charts themselves, it's just all weeks. So yeah, this is a new start this year, so I can't use it for any whipcoat draws, but that's okay. I think I used it quite a bit for Magical Stitches. All right, that one you've already seen. All right, so this is the big one. I not only in my Garon totem bag, I not only created the chart myself through Pick to Pad. This is what prompted me to buy Pattern Keeper, because it's a 30-page, it came out as like 30 pages of chart, right? And it's going to take a while, so I didn't want to be printing out. I figured good a reason as any to give Pattern Keeper a try. So these are all the colors in the first page. It's all dark blues. Alright. Sorry, I'm losing floss because I have a bunch of skeins in here. Alright. So here's where we are. It's 28 count, easy guide. Ugh, you can just barely see the color changes. I'm using 2 strands tint stitch for this. Here's where we're at. You can just see the blues, and there's some browns in here, and it's tough to see. It's so hard to see. Anyway, here's the picture of what I'm doing. Okay. It's a video game called Mass Effect. They recently released what they call the Legendary Edition, which is remastered. It's a 3-part series. It's all 3 parts are together on one disc. Before, you had to buy them individual, and there would be years between them, right? This video game is like very core to our household. My husband has played countless times. My daughter plays it. It's just, to me, it's like a movie, because I know it's like watching a favorite movie over and over again. Only in this case, it's probably more of a mini-series, because it takes hours and hours to get through the whole thing. But I know all the characters. I know a lot of the dialogue, even though the version that just came out in May, they incorporated a lot of the extra download content that was available to the original series, and then they upgraded a few areas from a visual perspective. It's a beautiful game, and so Mike is playing through now. We're on the second one. He's almost finished the second game, and there's been new stuff because he didn't really do a lot of the download content that was available on the original games. So that's now just been woven into the story, and so there are some areas where it's like, hey, this is new. So it's kind of fun. But the graphic, I just love the picture. Now, this image is a promotional image that was distributed by BioWare to be used for promotional purposes. It was given copyright free for creators to use on websites, or in other manners to support and promote the game. So that's the image that I am using. I am using an image. Now, obviously, I'm not going to sell or profit at all by the chart. That's not what I'm doing. Nobody's going to want this but me. I understand that. But it is the image is appropriate for my use of it. It is, yeah, it's fair use, I guess. I'm falling under fair use in the copyright. Because I didn't, other than crop the image, which is allowed, I didn't change it at all. So yeah, so that is my huge 30-page, couple 100,000 stitch, and I've got this much done. And I'll probably work on this today for dark 13 because that's a whole lot of dark in there, right? I want to get into the diagonal. It's going to take a while. So that's the big whip. And then the last thing is I took a class. So there was a piece, a counted canvas design piece that I have been trying to find since it was released, which was 10 years ago, okay? And it was only ever done as a class piece. And it's only ever going to be done probably as a class piece. And I've seen people post now and then where they were able to get the class, but I either would find out about the class after the fact, or it would be on the other side of the country, and, you know, I like travel, but it was just too much to fly to, you know, wherever, to take this class. Through the course of the last year and a half, the designer decided she would do it as a virtual class, and I actually found out about it well in advance. So I was able to sign up for the virtual class through Needleworker's Delight, also known as Silkweaver of all groups, and I was finally able to take Walking the Water's Edge by Diane Herman. So the class was last Sunday. It was about 3 hours. This is what, that's what I got done, was the very bottom and then a few of the eyelets in here. And then we practiced some bullion knots, which is what the starfish is. But yeah, I finally got my Walking the Water's Edge. I'm very excited. If you are interested in Walking the Water's Edge, which is a canvas class, it's not super complex. Okay. Diane is very good from a teaching perspective. She gives awesome directions. So don't hesitate, right? There were people in there that it was their first canvas class. I'm sure they'll do fine, right? It's a lot of counting, which we can do, right? Sometimes more than 2, but we can handle it, right? There will be another class offered later this year. It's very reasonably priced for the class and the kit. You get everything, including the stretcher bars, in the kit. Canvas, threads, the online session with Diane through Zoom. It's great. So Silkweaver or Needleworker's Delight, sign up for their newsletter. They announce classes and the class schedule in their newsletter. So she also has a couple of other designs that they'll be doing classes for that are beautiful, bright colored, geometric canvas designs. So if you have any interest, sign up and keep an eye on the newsletter, and you can participate, which would be awesome. All right, so that's it for whips. Let's talk some evolving ideas or plans right now. So like I mentioned, I am going to StitchCon Weekend B this week. I leave on Thursday. Kind of excited. It's my first trip in 18 months on a plane, essentially. I am working, again, looking forward to starting Crystal Academy, which is on Monday. I already have my whips chosen. I'll show you them as they get worked. I'm not going to show them to you now. And Magical Stitches is going along, even though the current Facebook glitch is obviously having an impact. And then I've been doing a little bit of crochet. If you have any interest in crochet or yarn, or just want to see someone that does an awesome job making videos, I highly recommend TL Yarn Crafts. I'll put the information on the screen and in the description box and the expanded show notes on my blog. Tony from TL Yarn Crafts. I mean, it'll make you want to find yarn and a crochet hook and just make a granny square if you watch her. She's amazing to watch. Wonderful content. So I've been kind of watching her. So I've been doing a little bit of crochet. Again, I'm not going to show that today because we're already half an hour and I still haven't pulled over the stash box. So yeah, so those are kind of the plans. Just keep on keeping on. The 25 stitches a day, should have that done by the end of the month for sure. And I already have identified what the next piece is, so that'll be good. All right, so let's get this. Let's get the stash box. In the matter of stash enhancement, the first thing I'd like to share is that I bought some ducks. I adopted some ducks with Emily at Eclectic Possessions, and I won a prize. And I was so excited to win a prize because I don't necessarily adopt the ducks to win a prize, but it's a nice, certainly not something. Now, if I won the $10,000 prize, I would totally not turn it down, but it's a nice surprise, right? So I won this absolutely amazingly gorgeous project bag. And it's nice size, right? Look at the pretty sunflowers on the back. And this is made by Marsha Cruz, because there's a label inside that said it was made by Marsha Cruz. So Marsha Cruz. And it had stuff in it. And the stuffs that were in it were awesome. Sorry. Oh, okay. So I got some charts that I did not have, which is even more awesome. The ever popular Seeking Refuge, which I did not have. And then 2 Fox and Rabbit samplers. Sarah Newman, 1822. Very pretty. I like the house. And Jane Joanna Wilkins, 1884. So got those 2, and a beautiful piece of vintage country cream linen with a needle minder. So that was the giveaway. Well worth the cost of 13 ducks. And I did 13 for dark 13. Okay. So beautiful. Now everything. So the other thing I got was a unicorn chart. So this is Sally Spencer, friend of a friend, someone within my circle, right? She recently finished this design. Tracy, Wild Princess on Instagram. She recently finished this and may have gotten a clue that it was kind of something that I had been looking for. And so she very graciously has sent me the chart that I can stitch it. It will be going back to her, or for the next stage, whatever it is, when I'm done. But I have it and I'm going to stitch it. I am going to try to stitch from stash. Sorry. I'll probably pull some Dinky Dye silks, and or Silks for You silks to stitch it. But yeah, Sally Spencer. Piles. All right. So everything else, I think everything else I paid for. But again, 4 months. This is 4 months, and it's 4 months. So this is for the scarab mandala, scarab tile, shadline scarab tile design. I'll put pictures. I got some fabric. I got 2 pieces of Fox and Rabbit from Sassy Jacks, Hog Bristle, and Eureka. Interested to try it out. I got some Santas because I want to do some ornaments, as well as the Devosa. Now, this was fabric that I purchased last July in the Picture This Plus Christmas in July sale, the last one. And I got it in February, I think. So it's 3 pieces of dark blue. Excuse me. Hermosa, Mystic, Twilight. Alright, next. Mountain Air Fabrics. Apparently I felt the need of blue, to add blue to my stash, because that's what all I've done here. Twilight. Twilight something. Evenly 28 count. I'm sure I had a thought in my mind. I don't know what it is. Country Stitch. Country Stitch is a New Zealand based fabric company, fabric dyer. Amazing and fast for being in New Zealand. So I bought a piece of this beautiful lobster bisque, pale pink, and black sheep Edinburgh 36 count. Beautiful pieces. You won't wait like you do for some of the US based fabric dyers, even though it's coming from New Zealand. Link below. Cap is amazing. And then this is about a half yard of Murky. I heard a rumor that there was a Autumn Lane design coming out this year that required Murky, and I didn't have any Murky in my stash, so now I do. Yes, hello Max. Okay. And to finish on the fabric front, I don't know what the deal is lately. Fabric. Okay. X2 Design, 2 pieces, pumpkin. I don't know what the other one is. Here's the other one. Stitch Me. I wanted to try some 22 count. So there that is. And here's the 20 count. It's much browner than that in person. It's not as gray. It's more taupey. And then Color and Cotton. This was an October order. What I was looking for was green. So there's the green, which is really pretty. Jolly, it's called. And then Sandstone, because fabric shouldn't travel alone. So 2 pieces of Color and Cotton. So all this will go in the stash buckets. Silks for You came out with this amazing hank of silk, which I think is amazing. So I got that. And I also got a hank of white. The white, I was thinking for one of those dark blue pieces. I have thoughts. If it happens, I'll show you. Also went on a bit of a... Let's do the project bags first. Little bitty lilac project bag. This is from a seller on Instagram. His name escapes me right now, but I will put Bags by Wendy. But I'll put her information down below. Garon got some... I was very lucky to get to the Garon site a couple of times so far this year. UK project bag, a small Harry Potter project bag, and 2 Tennessee project bags. That's where Mike is from. And then everything else are charts. A lot of this is expo stuff. So, Berry Bowl sampler I got. Yeah. These are 2 more of the Fragments in Time pieces. That needs to go. Justin Ann's Pansy. I Love You to Death. Or Reaping Love. I love this. Hold on a second. Alright. Winter Mouse roll. Griffins of the Kingdom. I got 2 landmarks. This is Carolyn's Fault. I think it's Savon. And I got Oz. These are the the Stony Creek freebies from the first quarter of the year. So that's a piece of linen. Early Bird. Souvenirs of Summer, all the Blackbirds. And then everything else, I think. Oh, and the other thing is another very generous gift from Laura, Brendan Laura, Jonathan Pease from Cardan Antiques and Universe. I have been looking for this and looking for this and looking for this and could not find it anywhere. And she was very generous and said, I've got this. There it is. So thank you very much, Laura. Ink circles, all the ink circles. So essentially I got all the Expo ink circles and then some. Oof. All right, so we're not going to go through those one by one. All right, so that's that. So we're at, oh my gosh, 45 minutes, which is long for me. So I'm going to put a list of the books in the drop-down box, and I also am keeping show notes, more detailed show notes on my blog now, AnnetteZaker.com. So that link will be down there as well. So I'll put the link of books. Many of them are rereads that I've done. The one that I'm going to, let me highlight 2. I'll highlight 2. The first is the current editions or current installments of Anne Bishop's Black Jewels trilogy, The Queen's Bargain and The Queen's Weapons. Great additions to the series. Now, granted, you need to read the whole series before you get to those. You can't pick them up in the middle. It would seem really odd. But I did finally catch up on the last 2, and I love the characters. So I read those. And then the other one that I'll highlight from the list is The Wizard's Butler. I'm sure it was an Amazon recommendation. And I read it on my Kindle, but oh my gosh, it was an awesome, very gentle, very easy, no major drama, no action scenes. It was just a very gentle slice of life type read about a man that has a midlife career change, decides to explore being a butler, and he's really good at it, and the man that he's being a butler for happens to be a wizard. It's just a really good story. So again, I will put a link to that as well as everything else in either in the drop down box or in the extended notes. So that being said, thank you very much for hanging out. Thank you very much for being patient for me to come back. Hopefully I made it worth your while for spending the time with me. If you see this before StitchCon Weekend B and you're going to be there, I would love to meet you. And if you see it afterwards, who knows what the future will hold, right? It's great to see our community and our events opening back up again. So I'm excited to start meeting and seeing people again. So with that, have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful whenever you're watching this, and we'll see you soon. Bye.